Grace, welcome to Real Talk.
Thank you.
Your story is a bit different in that, are you in a relationship right now?
No.
Why is that?
I don't want to stress anyone. Neither do I also want to be stressed.
So have you been stressed before?
A lot.
How?
Well, I was in a relationship that led me to this, what I'm doing right now. And it was really stressful. It's either I expected too much or he expected too much from me. So the timings were not coming anywhere near each other, and the mode of communication was not also good, and we didn't have any mode of understanding, like, okay, you don't agree, I also don't agree, but we can talk and compromise. Yeah.
Okay, so when you say what you're doing right now, so what are you doing?
I use toys. And I am having a lot of fun with them. Yeah, because anytime I need them, I just have to know where I am, if I can do it on my own, and it's cool.
And basically what you're saying is that what you use can't cheat on you.
No, never.
But a man can.
A man will always cheat. They are human beings.
So if I had to ask you today, do you think that you'll go back into dating a physical man?
I would probably date for one reason. Either if I want a baby, and there's also an alternative to get a baby. I would either work in a children's home, adopt a child, or go to a sperm bank and get the most handsome sperms and get the baby. Done.
So basically wewe unasema umefunga duka kabisa,
Nimefunga.
padlock na kifungu umetupa.
Shatupa.
And you're happy inside there by yourself.
I am satisfied.
Okay, I like your choice of words there. Right. I want to introduce one of our experts on tonight's topic, Elsie Wandera. She runs Purity and Purpose, and she's passionate about promoting sexual purity, especially amongst the youth. So Elsie, you've been in the audience, and I led by saying that this is an educational discussion because we want to understand, what do young people think about sex? Because, you know, the reality is that the researchers, the experts, they're raising the alarm. They're raising the alarm because they're saying more than any other demographic within the larger population, this generation is the one that is at risk. So we must first understand, where are they coming from, which we have, because, and I thank all my guests for sharing their stories, but for you, because as you could see, as the conversation was weaving from one topic into the next, the audience was getting excited, they were clapping in some instances they were not agreeing. But as somebody who's sitting here as a mentor and a counselor for young women on sex, what would you say?
Thank you very much. My name again is Elsie Wandera Odhiambo, and I'm the founder of Purity and Purpose. So it's been very interesting just listening to the stories. To some degree, I could actually see myself in the young women and in some of the stories they were sharing, because that's the background that I have and the passion which I come with to just work with these girls. So the generation today is one of the generation that has grown up in a very sexually saturated environment. So for example, a show like this in my years when I was growing up was never there. So we never had spaces where we could actually have conversations. So there are two extremes that we can look at with which the two generations have actually grown up with. There was one that was very silent about sex and what it is made for, whose it is, how to protect yourself, etc. And then there is this other extreme one that has grown in a very sexually saturated environment where everything we're seeing, our adverts, yani, there's nowhere you turn left or right, it's sexually loaded. I think the one thing I like to teach and to work with my girls just to help them understand is that just like a phone, for example, you have to go to the manufacturer to understand like its functionalities and what it is for. Sex is something that was created by God. And I think that's something a lot of us, very many people in fact, oblivious of. And I say that politely because even in the church, there's a struggle to understand, okay, is it safe? Is it okay for me to have conversations about sex? When can I talk about it? When can I not? So it's to take back people to understand sex was created by God for purposes of connecting, bonding two human beings, a man and a woman. And the context within which that is supposed to happen is within marriage. And so when I listen to some of the narratives around the betrayal, the trust, the brokenness, the impact of that of sex outside of the context of marriage, just opens you up and exposes your vulnerability to another person, and that is what introduces hurt. It's what introduces guilt, shame, etc. And if you don't understand that, that's why I love what you're saying about, kufunga duka. I think we must learn to funga duka. Why? Because we must begin to value ourselves and guard that and keep it for someone that we believe this is my husband, for the ladies, or this is my wife.
The majority of young women in this room have tasted the forbidden fruit. And once that happens, aren't we better off equipping them on how to have safe sex? So how can we empower those now, bado pengine wamefungua duka, but they still need to stay safe?
I think two things come to mind, okay? The only way you will know how to utilize something is by understanding what it was created for. So I go back to this, and this I don't see any other way to empower these young women, is to help them understand the context for which sex was created for, which is marriage, okay? Secondly, I would love for them to begin to have a conversation around why sex? Why does it have to be sex, okay? I would love to know if anyone in this room has ever seen someone being rushed to the ICU because they didn't have sex.
I think very good question. On that note, we'll be taking a very quick break. When we come back, this conversation still continues. You can join the conversation. Let me know via the hashtag #RealTalk with Tamima. Right now, don't go too far. We'll be right back.
Porn also disconnects people from real connections because the person can't satisfy you the way that person on screen is being satisfied. So it's an illusion.
I don't compromise anything less. Most girls at my age, they can say the same thing.
Welcome back to Real Talk. Right, so if you have an opinion on tonight's topic, please get on that hashtag #RealTalk with Tamima. Let me know what your views, questions, or comments are on tonight's topic. And I want to repeat the disclaimer. This is purely for educational purposes because we must show you what the reality is on the ground. So right now, I'll introduce my next guest, Irene Kamami. So Irene is 25 years old and her struggle with sex is a bit different. Irene, welcome to Real Talk.
Thank you.
So maybe please share with us, because you told the show producers that as a young woman, you've been struggling with something, and it's not something that most people would have the confidence that you do to come out and speak about openly. Please talk to us about that.
Okay, first, before you decide to tell people or to get that courage to tell someone that you've been struggling with it, it's to accept first it's not the right thing. Though it's hard to get out of it. I've been struggling with porn addiction, which has been my consolation. Anytime I'm stressed up, the only thing I think about, or that one thing that will make me feel good, is to get my earphones on and watch something alone. That's porn. And that's what I feel like the right thing to do when I'm alone. Yeah.
So are you presently in a relationship?
Not really.
You're not dating?
Yeah.
Have you dated before?
Long time.
A long time?
Yeah.
And when would you say that your addiction started? Like, what triggered it?
Depression. I was heartbroken. And so every time I thought of someone. I really needed that porn to take it away. Like, I feel good when doing that, and I won't disturb anyone for it. And I can do it alone. I don't need anyone. Like, no one will know my stuff. That's me. I don't have to tell anyone that I need it. I'll just watch it and